Hey, my brothers and sisters. Oh my gosh, get ready to go on a ride with me today. There's no way I can finish this in an hour. I've got to do two separate videos on some incredible stuff the Lord just brought me to. That I've watched Rob Skiba for a long time. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2020, but he's gone around the world doing all kinds of conferences. And I am going to show you some stuff. He's going to show you some stuff that's amazing. I can't go through it. I guess I can go through a lot of it, but this video is a 2-hour video that he's doing. And I'm just going to tell you some stuff because I want you to watch it. It will blow your mind. You're going to have to sit down and say, okay, let me sit in front of the TV and watch this YouTube video and just enjoy myself and get some popcorn. It's going to blow your mind. What is going on in the world? There's so much put together now. It's going to blow your mind. Okay, he's right now on here talking about that, and he shows clips at the end of this video of these so-called asteroids or meteors, these things falling from the sky. There is one clip that literally looks like it was Satan falling like lightning from the sky. The Indians of the American Southwest have carvings of spirals and giants holding beheaded people and children crying. And that was a warning to us to watch for spirals, because the spirals in the sky would be the warning sign for us that the giants are coming back. They knew they were coming back. They knew about Jesus. Okay, so the first spiral that ever showed up was in 2008 when Obama went to the Netherlands or somewhere, I think it was the Netherlands, to get the Nobel Peace Prize. And a blue spiral showed up in the sky. It was all over the news. And it was an announcement to us. And in 2012, so for the next 3 years, we saw all kinds of things falling from the sky, and I don't believe they were asteroids. Vernon von Braun, which was a engineer, missile engineer from Germany, came over after the war was over, the World War II was over, and he came to work for NASA. He told his assistant that was like, she went with them everywhere to do everything. He said there would be these 3 deceptions. And he said one of them was needing to build stuff for missiles and all this stuff. And so he basically tells about how one of the deceptions will be meteors. Like, he basically said there's no such thing as meteors. And the other deception, I forgot what the first one is, but the other deception is aliens, a false alien agenda. And he said, just remember, when this starts happening, you know the time is near. So anyway, Rob talks about some stuff that happened in 2012. He talks about Dutch Sense, there's a channel called Dutch Sense. He follows earthquakes, and how one major earthquake, when it happens, like a 7.0, will travel the lines, the fault lines, and there'll be another one in another place where there's a curve or a hook, and there'll be another earthquake, but it'll be a slight bit lower. Dutch Sense found and caught on every seismic monitoring site in the world. We have these seismic monitors all around the world. Every single one in the whole world was vibrating. Okay, you know, if you ever see a seismic chart, it's kind of like an EKG monitor. It goes like this. It goes up and down when there's an earthquake. Well, every monitor in the whole earth was going like this. And they was making a black line of squigglies. And he's talking about that on here, so let's check it out. I may have to do like a part 1, part 2, 3.
And of course, I still believe most of the things I was talking about there, but obviously I've learned a lot since then, 4 years.
Sorry, let me get the sound up a little bit. Okay.
Years later, I got introduced to biblical cosmology. So, you're going to hear me talking about planet and stuff like that in this presentation, But 4 years later, I'm going, okay, wait a minute, I got to rethink all that. So there's some evolution that takes place, here. But there was a sense of urgency because at this time we were a year away from 2012, and everybody was talking about December 21st, 2012 is what's going to happen.
The Mayan
the Aztec
calendar
stone, the Mayans, all that stuff is like
the end of the world.
People were speculating. Are the aliens or the Anunnaki going to return? Are we going to have some kind of major planetary worldwide, shift? The planet's going to have a pole shift or something. The cosmic alignments, or the aliens going to come back. All kinds of stuff. People were speculating, wondering what's going to happen. And I don't know if you guys remember back then, but after the December 21st, 2010 blood red lunar eclipse that floated over the shoulders of Orion like a decapitated head, which I talked about in the last presentation, right after that we had all kinds of...
Okay, Orion, the Orion constellation is the hunter. That's Nimrod or Apollo or Osiris. That is Satan. That is the Antichrist. That is the evil one. That's the hunter. He is not hunting deer. He is hunting people. That is the Antichrist. That is Nimrod. A lot of people think that Nimrod is on the earth and he is the actual real Antichrist, and that this man figure that's going to come up that looks like Trump or Macron or something, this guy is behind the scenes. So anyway, so let's keep talking.
Millions of fish beaching themselves, breed specific too, like the same breed of fish beaching themselves dead. Hundreds of thousands of birds, breed specific, falling out of the sky, dead. Earthquakes happening all over the place. I showed you that clip in that video where I think it was Dutch Sense was showing the internet seismic servers that check earthquake activity around the world. They were all going in the black as Nimrod's hometown was announcing, hey, we're back in business again. Babylon was rising. So a lot of things were happening right after that blood red lunar eclipse, December 21st, 2010, which I believe was the actual date that the ancients were pointing to. And I believe our calendars are off by 2 years, because if you look at the Revelation 12 sign of the birth of Yeshua, that event happened on 9/11, September 11th on the Gregorian calendar. If you go back in time using stellarium, that happened on the Gregorian calendar, September 11th, 3 BC, which is reckoned as -2. So -2 from the current time is, it's 2 years off. That marks the birth of Christ. So
we're
since
2
our
years
current
off
calendar is
on my
AD,
calendar.
Marked from the birth of Christ, then our calendar's off by 2 years. We're 2 years ahead.
I think we're off more than that.
I contend that the big sign and everything that everybody was in the ancient world was seeing, that something was significant was going to happen, actually did happen, but it happened on December 21st, 2010, which is why it more or less went under the radar. Because if all the things that occurred on December 21st, 2010, and the days and weeks following.
So this is just crazy. So we had in 2012, we had all of these monitors going off, and the whole earth was shaking at one time. So we didn't feel it like an earthquake, where we're rocking and rolling back and forth, because if the whole thing is vibrating at the same time, something is going on. What were they opening? Was this something spiritual in the spiritual realm, and it affected the earth? But the whole earth was vibrating. So he's talking about 2010 real quick.
Following would have happened on December 21st, 2012. You got to know everybody and their dog would have been talking about it, but December 21st, 2012 was, for all intents and purposes, a dud. Nothing really happened. So, I think what really happened was 2 years prior. So, but at the time, we didn't know that. This is looking back in retrospect now. So, giving the presentation, there's a sense of urgency, because we were looking at December 2012 and wondering.
Okay, I'm going to fast forward, because he does a presentation, and I want you to see some of it, and I want to talk to you about some of it.
Listen, you want to skip this ad. I would too. But what if I told you there's a skip ads for everybody? It's called Pi, and if that sounds familiar to you, it's probably because you've seen their ads.
News and all that. you really don't hear people talking about end times.
He's got this great
incorporating
thing
the whole
that's really
idea
cool.
of the Nephilim and stuff into it. So that's the first of its kind that I'm aware of, a timeline chart that actually does that.
It's a timeline
so,
chart
I do
that
reference that
shows
in this evening's
the first and
presentation.
second
So
woe.
that's the link you can check out for yourself. Going to, again, BabylonRisingBlog.com, scroll down to the bottom where it says that we're fighting. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We're wrestling against spiritual wickedness in high places. And back in the late 80s, early 90s, I was in the Army. I was in the 1st of the 110th Air Cav.
He tells,
and started out, went through infantry basic training.
Okay, he's showing these helicopters. I'll just tell you this real quick. He's showing these helicopters, and he said that he decided he wanted to take all his money out of the bank. So he goes to Chase Bank and he takes all his money out of the bank. And he was talking about that movie Red Dawn, where back in the 80s with Patrick Swayze, where they the kids are all in high school and they look out the window and they see all these paratroopers landing, and it's the Russians and they're shooting at people, and these kids get together and kind of create like a militia or something, and is kind of interesting. And so he's thinking this is like one of those moments, because he sees a Russian helicopter flying overhead as he's walking outside a bank in Texas, in Plano, Texas. And he just kind of makes a joke out of it. He said, and he shows a picture of all these people that see this helicopter, and they go running over to the helicopter to take pictures of it. And he said, you know, if this was actually that moment where the Russians had come, he said, all those people would be gone. He said the people that were running the other direction were the ones that were smart and knew what they were doing. And so let me see. I'm trying to scroll through here because there's so much he has to talk about that is really amazing, and I don't want to waste too much of your time with it. Okay, he goes on to talk about the book of Enoch and how it's really got so much information in it, and he's talking about the 66 books of the Bible. And he lists a lot of reasons why Enoch is an important book to read. Because he says over 100, let's see if this is it. He said the book of Jasher is also a good one to read, and also Jubilees, which I've mentioned. And let's see. The words of the blessings of Enoch with which he blessed the elect and the righteous who will be living in the day of tribulation. The book of Enoch was written for us, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he began his story saying, Enoch, a righteous man whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in heaven, which the angels showed me, and I heard everything from them, and I saw and understood. But it was not for this generation, but for a remote future one to come. And then, let's see. He talks about why the book of Enoch is credible, that there's over 100 mentions of the book of Enoch, I think in the New Testament. And although it doesn't reference it, there's no other place they could have got this, the apostles and Jesus could have gotten the information, but from the book of Enoch. Let's see if I can find it on here. I might not be able to. But anyway, he lists, let's see, is this it? Here it is. At least 100 references in the New Testament, quoted by Jesus, Peter, and Jude, and is widely known as and read in the first century Christians. That was like the first 100 years or 200 years. View as scripture by early church fathers, and is still in the Ethiopian Bible, and it is found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which obviously God wanted us to find. So he wanted us to read about the fallen angels in Enoch so that we would not be deceived. If you haven't read Enoch and you don't want to buy the book, you can go online and look up the book of Enoch pdf.text, and it will send you to a link that will show you the actual scripture you can read. And so then he goes on here.
Anorexic?
Oh,
Do I
Lord.
really look
Sorry.
anorexic? That's what they told me after 12 days on this recipe they're calling Natural Manjaro. Women are melting fat like it's nothing, up to 17 pounds in
I
you
hate
and the
it when
woman
that
and between
happens.
your offspring. Whose offspring? The devil's offspring, the serpent's offspring.
Let's go
Interesting.
back to that real
And
quick.
hers. First prophecy in the Bible. And he will crush your head, and you will strike his heel. How many of you know getting your head crushed would be kind of bad? The reason I like these three books, of course, the scriptures, the Bible, but when you take, and I ate, so the Lord, and I ate, so the Lord, and I ate, so the, and I ate, so the Lord said to the serpent, because you have done this, cursed are you above all life.
Okay, so it says, he was talking about the woman said, the serpent deceived me and I ate. So the Lord God said to the serpent, because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and wild animals. I don't think that we had crocodiles, reptiles like geckos and lizards. I don't think we had those on the earth in the beginning. The Bible specifically talks about four-footed animals, and there's no mention of those in the Bible until this. Cursed are you above all livestock and wild animals. God doesn't mention any reptiles. And you will crawl on your belly and you will eat dust of all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman and between your offspring. That means God knows that he's going to have offspring, some kind of children. And hers, she will have children. He will crush your head and you will strike his heels. And Rob says, if Satan knew that the offspring of the woman was going to crush his head, wouldn't he try to destroy it? And so that's how Cain and Abel came about. He wanted to get Cain to kill righteous Abel because he was righteous and he would have done the things of God. But he convinced Cain to be more evil, obviously the first murderer in the world. And so, but I really hope y'all go watch this video because there's so much information I can't cover it. And it will blow your mind. He led me to something else too. So the only reason I'm going through here is because he's showing here's pictures of skulls found in Peru. If you want more information on that, you can go to the LA Marzulli channel. He's got tons of stuff on that because he's gone around the world searching for the evidence of giants. And then he shows, look at this. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen this, but this is what average man looks like now. The giants are going to come on the earth again. And according to Enoch, the Nephilim, which were the giants' sons, were up to 36 feet tall. But the original Nephilim, the original fallen angels, when they manifest into human form, were 400 feet tall. That is 40 stories. Can you imagine standing next to a building that's 40 stories high and there being a human being with a hand that could scoop you up like a toothpick? This is what is getting ready to come on the earth again. So let's see. He does such a fantastic presentation. He's comical and he's so interesting to listen to. You will enjoy this beyond a shadow of a doubt. You need to just invest some time in sitting down with your family, with your kids, anybody that's Christian and anybody that's not, because he proves without a shadow of a doubt about Jesus that you really need to get some people to watch this with you. And it's an extraordinary. Then he talks about Mount Hermon and how Mount Hermon is where the fallen angels were on the earth. They came down. And there was another guy that did research on topography and mapping and stuff and found out that the Paris Meridian line, which is like the middle line of the earth or whatever, is exactly when the angels fell. Satan took a third of the angels with them. A third of the angels is exactly 33.33. And this is crazy, guys, but Mount Hermon is exactly 33.33 degrees north and then degrees east or west from the meridian. So it's like set perfectly. And then what was it? Oh, and then he measured from Mount Hermon to the Paris meridian line is 2012. And the other way, going the other direction to the equator, I think it is, he said, is exactly 2012 also. God was trying to show us something about the year 2012. And here in 2012, the whole earth was shaking. Something happened that a lot of people don't realize even happened in 2012. But you need to listen to the whole video to get all the information. I can't do it this way. But the reason I'm giving you a review of this is so that you will want to invest time to go watch it.
That's why your blood sugar stays over 250
I'm so tired of these
burn like they're
videos,
on
these
fire.
commercials.
But you know, type 2
Normally,
diabetes
I
is
didn't
a
have this
completely
many commercials when I watched
Fallen
it.
angels
But I'm fast
participated
forwarding
in what I
too,
call the
so.
Genesis 6 experiment. Somewhere around the end of the 9th Jubilee, each of these gray columns represents a 50-year time period. The Jubilee, each column is 1,000
The flood,
years.
he shows a flood
So
as
they
the
show up right about
33rd
here.
Jubilee.
The flood's not to you. Get way
but
back over here.
according to Enoch,
So, the ancient texts say that they are
according to
buried in the
Enoch,
sands of the
it's
earth.
the
And something that's
25th.
very, very interesting that we should probably... this is what you're going to
So
tell
he
them. No,
goes-
I do not accept your petition. I do not forgive you. You will never have peace. It's a...
Okay, he's talking about how Enoch was basically the attorney for the fallen angels, and they said, we can't go up and talk to God anymore, so would you go talk to him and ask him to please forgive us? And he's saying, no, there's no way that's going to happen. God tells Enoch, go down there and tell him, you should be praying for man. You were supposed to be the watchers over man, and why are you asking them to pray for you? And so anyway, there's a lot of people have had talks about why after the flood were there giants on the earth? And some people think that they came into women again somehow. But he goes into a conversation about it, and he basically says that the evidence kind of proves that somehow there had to been one of the women that were the brides or the wives of the sons of Noah may have had a corrupted seed, and it procreated. So there's controversy about it, but you can come up with your own conclusions about it. And then let's see what else. I'm trying to just jog my memory about some things. He's still talking about giants. Okay, then he's talking about this guy, if I can get it on there. Okay, this guy right here is called, his name is Dr. David Jacobs, and he has done tons of research and interviewed people that claim to be abducted. And I don't know what you think about that, but I absolutely believe that's possible. And because Satan is not going to come, the Bible says that the first time they came onto the earth, they came into women and they took women as brides. The second time, they won't do that. So they're using DNA. So they have to have a way to be able to do that. People have heard the story about how Eisenhower met with the gray aliens, and in exchange for technology, he basically sold the people of America that they said, and the other nations did too. So it's not just America. But that they could abduct us and take our DNA, our sperm, and all this other stuff, and do testing on us. But he said, just make sure you wipe their memory so they don't know anything that's going on. And so this guy has done tons of research. He's done tons of interviews with people that do not know each other. And he's very interested. This clip is very interesting, but YouTube doesn't let me show a lot of another stuff. I can't just play a whole video unless I've got a bunch of stuff, I've got to do a bunch of stuff with YouTube to make sure it's okay. So I want you to watch it for yourself, but it's like about 5 minutes long or something. And he's basically talking about that, the gray alien, and Rob also talks about that he believes the gray aliens, they're not really beings. They're like a biological suit for the demons to occupy so they can be servants of Satan. And that makes a lot of sense to me. And then recently I've heard some stories about somebody that happened to be in a lab or some vacated place that was a government place, and they saw these suits that looked like gray alien suits, and they were empty. They weren't inhabited. There was nothing inside. So that makes a lot of sense. And so then also he talks about these people that were abducted. This is really creepy, guys. He says, I interviewed multiple people. He said, the first time this happened, I thought, okay, well, it's a fluke. But then then more and more people over time, over the years, were telling him the same thing, that these people were saying that they would be abducted. They would be put in front of a screen that was basically a recording of some kids playing at a park or a mall with a bunch of people walking by, and that the fallen angels, or the gray aliens, would ask the human beings, the regular human beings, do you see who you are in those videos, or do you see who we are? Can you tell a difference? And they go, no, I can't tell a difference. So apparently they were using us, the real human beings, to look at videos to tell whether we could tell the difference in the behavior of a hybrid compared to a regular human being. And then he goes on to say, let me see if I can find that for you, what the gray aliens told them.
There's no evidence whatsoever that that's the case. But the evidence that I've been getting recently in terms of the goals of the program is that that might be the case. I don't really know yet. It is possible. And I am embarrassed even to say that. I'm embarrassed. And yet,
about them being integrated
it fits the
into
pattern
our
of
society.
all the evidence that I've been hearing for the past 20 years. It's focused on hybrids. The reproduction is to
Have you
reproduce
noticed
hybrids,
babies
it does
and
appear
young
to be
children
an
have
integration
bigger
program,
eyes?
as
I
crazy
do.
as that may sound.
Puts the whole script.
Okay, so I have noticed this over the years, that people's eyes keep getting larger. And if you go back on the internet and you look up old pictures from the 50s of people, and it'll show pictures, black and white pictures, or from the 30s, black and white pictures of people, just random people. And you look at them and you look at the people today, our eyes are bigger, and there are people in the world, like Rob Skiba's eyes look totally normal. But there are people that are in Hollywood and other places, they seem to have very large eyes and they don't look normal. So you really need to watch that part. And I couldn't find it in there, but that doctor that's on there, they put on the screen the text of what the aliens tell them. And it basically, let me see if I can find it. I can't remember what it says, and it's really interesting.
Everything that happens on board is for a reason. Everything is logical, everything is rational, and everything is understandable with enough information. This was not a learning experience, and it wasn't an experiment. They were trying to figure out what makes us tick.
An alien experiment.
The evidence suggested that this was a program. There is a reason for this program to be put in place. That's what
Sorry, I'm
the
not even
evidence
touching the
clearly
screen.
points to. What was happening was that people were talking about this reproductive material. People were having sperm taken. They were having eggs taken. People report that they were having embryos retrieved from them.
What we conclude is that maybe these people are creating hybrids, creating a special race of people with DNA from us, human
Creating
DNA,
a new
and
race of people.
alien DNA.
So look at that.
creating people that are
There's
I guess,
actually
more intelligent, more sophisticated. And I've heard other people tell me stories alluding to that effect.
And you have to hear accounts of abductees were taken into a room. Their attention would be directed to a screen.
okay. I'm trying to get to where the here.
And on the screen, there would be a scene of normal human activity. A picnic, kids playing ball,
Here it
guys
is.
standing around a grill, people talking to each other. And they'll hear in their minds, can you tell the difference between you and us? And the person will look at the screen and say, no, everybody looks the same to me. And I'll say, see, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that great? Soon we will all be together. Soon it will be wonderful. Soon everybody will be happy.
Soon it'll all be wonderful.
Now, you
They'll
hear
all
that
be
once.
happy.
It's not a pattern. You hear that once, you just discard it. Interesting, who knows? But when you begin to hear it over and over again, then suddenly it has different meaning. This is
Okay, I really hope you guys watch this and that you send it out to as many people as you can find on your contact list. And if you got a YouTube channel, tell people about it on your YouTube channel. This is a I sat here and watched this and last night, and I was just like, I watched it years ago. I've been watching Rob Skiba since probably 2017. And I watched it years ago, but all this stuff hadn't happened yet. And now we're seeing all this stuff come into manifestation. We are literally seeing Damascus being demolished and become a heap, which is written in Jeremiah, Isaiah, and I think it's in Amos also. And so the prophecy is literally, I mean, we are the generation chosen for this, and it's incredible. Okay, he's talking about David Flynn and the Mount Hermon and how he figured out the lines and all that stuff. And I'm gonna, let's see. Here's some of the clips. Here's a few clips of these are old videos from 2008 to 2012 of UFOs. And look at this stuff.
Yeah, can you identify it? The airport had to be shut down after people apparently saw twinkling lights above the airport terminal. 17 flights had to be diverted. The latest sighting happened just 2 days ago.
With
people
the shuttles.
They saw 4 lantern-like objects forming a diamond shape in the air.
I don't think Elon Musk is shuttling a ship. I think he's shuttling fallen angels. Isn't that amazing?
Strange and mysterious lights hovering above East El Paso tonight. What's even more strange, very similar lights were spotted in Manhattan just 2 days ago.
Look at this thing, it divides. That is not an asteroid, guys.
East El Paso tonight, a sight that was a little more than stunning. This is what one of our photographers.
Let me see. I'm going to need to speed up a little bit.
Ray Moreno caught on video. One solitary light that appears to be falling in the sky, but that light suddenly breaks apart into 2, then 3 separate lights. Those lights then just freeze in the air.
Don't those look like what we're seeing right now, guys?
Then the lights appear to be hovering and then moving in a strange pattern. Then they all disappear. Just 2 days ago, in the sky above Manhattan, people froze on the street there as they saw these 3 lights hovering in the middle of the day. And check this out.
That looks exactly like what we're seeing now.
Spread out into this triangle pattern. Now, look at the pattern side by side. This from Manhattan and the other tonight in El Paso. Gotta tell you, they do look eerily similar.
A lot of people are looking up. It's because of a mystery in the sky. Is it a balloon?
Okay, here's
a UFO?
more.
Whatever it is, it sure has a lot of people talking. Eyewitness News reporter Jeff McGase is live in Chelsea, where crowds have gathered. Jeff, what's this all about?
Well, Sade, we don't know.
As in the days of Noah. Mexico, people have been seeing the same thing with all these groups of UFOs, and so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. I wish this wasn't so blurry, but this is an older video, guys. Look at that. Look at that. That's Elon Musk's technology, guys. I don't think Elon Musk is doing what he says he's doing.
Michio Kaku is a theoretical physics professor, and back on the screen, what is it? We don't know. We are stumped. Scientists around the world are saying, what the heck is this object?
Look at that. China 2010. I think the fallen angels have been back since then. Wait till you see the one at the end. It freaked me out. Look, they divided. Did you see that part? Let's see if I can go back.
Michio Kaku is a theoretical physics professor and back on the
sorry
screen.
about this.
We don't know. We are stumped. Scientists around the world are saying, what the heck is this?
Look at that. It divided into 3. It looked like a spider. Okay, here we go. Look, something came out of that. I literally was shaking when I was watching this. I felt like crying almost. Not because I'm afraid, but because it's just amazing. Look! Those look like beings. And then there's, look at that one. Okay, there's one on here that is really freaky.
Daughters of men that they were fair.
Look at that.
Look, watch this one. No, that's not the one.
Oh my God.
There's one at the end that you gotta see. This is January 6, 2011.
Also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them.
What is this thing that was caught? Oh, no, sorry. Never mind.
Men of renown.
There's one more, I think.
Disclosure is very close, and the American people need to prepare themselves very soon for announcement.
That's Kazakhstan.
Engage in plan.
Look at this. That's an Elon Musk looking thing. Every time he shoots off a shuttle, it has that teardrop look. Watch this. What is that? Okay, remember Jesus says, I saw Satan fall like a bolt of lightning, like lightning from the sky? Look at this. This is going to freak you out. Oh, sorry. Look what happens to this. I think this is Satan. I'm not kidding you. I am serious. This is not an asteroid. Jesus replied, I saw Satan fall like lightning from the heavens. Look what's happening to this thing. It gets better. Look what's happening to it. Look what's in the middle. I think that's Satan. Now look, okay. Look, pause it. What is the Egyptians got? They've got the eye in the forehead. That's an eye, and that's an eye. Those look like horns. Does it not? Watch this. It gets more intense. Oh my gosh. Guys. Okay, and it says, and no wonder even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. 2 Corinthians. All right, I'm going to end this video. I'm going to tell you one other thing. I really, really want you to go watch the whole thing. It's about 2 hours long. You don't have to watch quite to the end, but this is at the end. This is at 1:50, so an hour and 50 minutes. So you want to be able to watch the whole thing. And his talk and presentation, if you really love Jesus, you want to know everything you can about him. And so anyway, this is amazing. The video is called the Mount Hermon Roswell Connection 2011, and you have to put 2011 in it because a lot of people have copied his video. I'm not going to do that because I don't want my channel taken away. But Go watch that. And then at the end, he's literally in tears because he said, the people here in this conference, you're awake. You know what's coming. You're preparing yourself. You're finding out the truth. But those people out there, out in the world, he said, it makes me so sad because he said they don't know. They're going to be deceived. They're not going to know the truth. And he said, not unless we tell them. And then he talks about the movie Rocky and how Rocky 1 is basically about the story of the coming of Christ the first time, and Rocky 2 is about the story of the coming of Christ the second time. And I thought, oh my gosh, I got to watch that. So I sat down and I wrote down a bunch of notes about it, and I'm going to do a video about my take on it. And it's literally going to blow your mind. So come back and watch for my next video on that, because it's amazing. It's so amazing. And it even mentions in Rocky 2 about a coma. The bride goes into, when she delivers the baby, she goes into a coma. She has a loss of blood. And he stands by her for 7 days or 7 years. Have we been in a coma since the end of Trump's administration and all of Biden's administration? With all this technology and all of the phones, we're looking at our phones every day. We're looking at our phones when we're crossing the street, when we're in the car, when we're eating, when we're halfway when we're sleeping. Half of the kids fall asleep with the phone next to their ear, which is radiation to your brain. So I just pray that you get out into the world. You talk to as many as you can. You talk to the people in your church. Send this video to your pastors. Send them to the people in your church groups. Send them to your neighbors, your friends, whoever you can. And let them be enlightened by what is truly coming. And we are like, guys, I feel like between now and June of this next year. Now, in Rocky, it talks about the second fight in the second movie, talks about the fight on Thanksgiving. So I am thinking, and then when he gets married at the beginning of the second movie, the house has the number 2313. 2023 is when the war in Israel started. And 13 is the number of the Antichrist. Taylor Swift is probably the most famous person on the planet right now. And if the Antichrist wanted to tell the whole world, I'm here, he would do it that way. He wouldn't do it on the news. And Taylor Swift wrote the number 13 on her hand for all of her tour for all of 2024. So if October 2023 was the beginning of the 7-year tribulation, then we're 1 year in. And what's interesting is this coincides with, if you watched my video about the second Babylon actually started in 1982, and that the Lord showed me Baruch 2, 7 weeks times 7 days is 49-year tribulation. And it talks about 12 things going to happen in the last days. And he led me to 1982, and then I asked him for confirmation, and he gave it. And so 1982 is when East and West Germany reformed, and the European Union formed, and they had a coin that literally had a woman riding a beast on it. So it was in October, October 5th of 1982 when the chancellor got installed there to do that. And then October 7th of 2023 is when the war started. So that is not a coincidence, guys. I think the tribulation started in 2023 with the Israel war starting. So I don't know. Hang tight and let's watch. Love you guys. Take care. I'll put in the description some stuff for you. This is you need to type in the Mount Hermon Roswell connection. And you don't have to put a parentheses or commas or whatever around it, but put 2011. Make sure you put 2011 in your search on YouTube when you're searching the video, because there's too many other people that are doing it. And it's on Rob Skiba's channel, but I'll put it in the description. Love you guys. Take care. And I'm going to do a video on Rocky, like a thorough video on it. It's amazing. God bless and take care. Send me comments. I'd love to hear what you got to say about this. Look at that picture. That was in 2011, I think, is when that, 2011. And then 2012 is when the whole earth shook. I think it's 2012. It might have been 2010 because I was kind of skipping through at the beginning because I was just trying to find things to show you guys. Well, God bless. I hope this blesses you. Go watch the whole thing tonight. Get yourself a bowl of popcorn and just sit down and watch that tonight. It's going to blow your mind and you're going to be so blessed. Okay, it's called the Mount Hermon Roswell Connection. And what's interesting is Israel just took over a section of Syria that goes to the bottom of the mountain of Mount Hermon, which Rob talks about in here in detail. And at the bottom of Mount Hermon is the Temple of Pan, and also the temple, another temple of like Apollo or something. And it's at the base of the mountain, which is where they have their land now. And then he shows that there's a radio tower on top of Mount Hermon. And he's like, I get that it's high up for, you know, frequencies and for phones and stuff. But he said it's looking down on the exact this tower that they have where it's occupied by people and they're videotaping stuff. It literally looks down on the exact location where the fallen angels came, because they're looking for their Messiah to come. And they think and Elon Musk, I showed you another video of Elon Musk saying that he has his company in Memphis, Tennessee, which Memphis is the capital of is the name of the capital of Egypt of ancient times, of when they worship the false gods. And he literally said maybe that's where our new God will come from Memphis, Tennessee, where his supercomputer will be the new God. Love you guys. Take care. Stay in your faith. And just remember not to have any fear, because Jesus has got us. And please come watch the next video, because it's the next video I'm going to do is going to tell you about how much Jesus truly loves you and not to have any fear. So don't miss that one. God bless.